Thank you. There's lots of people who were interested in hearing what you had to say, and I would love to share that with them as well. So what exciting news do you have for us this week regarding the historical capital?
Well, I appreciate the invitation to come chat with you all, and love to know that your group is out there and you're reading. We were comparing notes earlier about our general expectations that if you look out at the world right now, it doesn't seem like anybody's reading anything. But as it turns out, people are returning to books, or at least some people are returning to books. So I'm happy to have a chance to talk with you all. And you asked me to say a couple of words about our practice generally with tribes, and in particular, we have a client in Virginia, the Monacan Indian Nation, and they've had some good news. And I understand you're reading the Braiding Sweetgrass book, which everyone at my firm, apparently other than me, has read. So when I told them I was doing this evening, there was a lot of shaming going on. They're like, "What? You haven't read it yet?" So I'll have to get on that. But yeah, so our firm does cultural heritage law, which is everything from getting Nazi looted art back to the Jewish heirs of the folks from whom it was stolen, to shutting down the international black market trade in antiquities that ends up funding terror, to helping Native American tribes protect their history, which could be things like, getting things back from museums that were dug up from the ground without their permission, or keeping pipelines from going through the middle of ceremonial and sacred sites. And the story that I just thought I'd tell you came to an ending in some respects yesterday after 4 years. So it was good and timely that you reached out to me, because I've got a good story to tell. But the Monacan Indian Nation is the largest of the remaining federally recognized tribes in Virginia. There's about 2,650 citizens now. Not all those live in Virginia, of course, because they're scattered around the country, but a fair amount of them do, and they live down in Amherst on Bear Mountain. And but for millennia before that, they occupied about half of what is modern day Virginia, and they had hundreds of villages. But the chiefest of their villages, that's not my word, that's the word of Captain John Smith, who in 1612 created a map of what he saw when he visited here. He referred to Rassawek as the chiefest of the Monacan villages, the one to which all other the villages paid tribute. And he made a map, and the map positioned Rassawek at the confluence of the James and the Ravenna rivers, out a little past Charlottesville. And for 4,000 years, Monacans lived there. That's 200 generations of folks. And if you're keeping notes, America, as old as we think it is probably about 13 generations so far. So 200 generations, 4,000 years. And as you can imagine, if you live in a place for 4,000 years, you leave a lot of stuff around, even when you're eventually forced off by Europeans. So you leave the remnants of your culture in tools and in post holes from where you built your buildings, and in fire, cracked rock that shows how you lived, and you leave human remains, lots of human remains. And so when the Monacan were forced to leave Rassawek, they were forced into the woods elsewhere in Virginia. So end of that part of the story. And then in 2017, the Monacan get a phone call, and they're told, hey, the counties right there, Fluvanna and Louisa, plan to build the giant water pumping station and pipeline smack dab in the middle of the archaeological and burial grounds of Rassawek. And so the tribe had been told there was no other place to put this project. So they called us as their lawyers and said, we think we're being lied to. Can you figure it out? And so we went in, we did a Freedom of Information Act request, an amazing tool provided to citizens. And we found a lot of documentation that said that the county's water authority knew that Rassawek was important, that they were taking steps to avoid public scrutiny, and they knew that there were actual alternatives, other places to build the pump station. So that fight, which started off as a local fight, eventually became a regional fight, and then a national fight, and then an international fight. And in 2020, Rassawek was named to be one of the 11 most endangered historic sites in the United States. And we pulled together a coalition of about 12,000 organizations and people around the country, all to tell the Army Corps of Engineers that they were not doing a good job of looking out for the tribe's interests. And yesterday, finally, after 4 years of battle, the James River Water Authority voted unanimously to move their project plans away from Rassawek, which is a rare victory in Indian country, because it was a total victory. And you can read about it in today's Washington Post. And if you're interested, I'm happy to send you a really amazing video. Senator Tim Kaine took to the floor of the Senate this morning and for 10 minutes spoke without notes, because that's just how smart that guy is. Without notes, spoke about the history of tribes in Virginia, the history of the Monacan people, the history of this battle, and how meaningful it is. So long story short is we tend to, in this country, romanticize Native Americans as museum pieces, victims of history. But in fact, they are strong, resilient, thoughtful, loving, passionate, and alive. And it's a pleasure for me and my firm to have the opportunity to work with them. We represent 6 of the 7 federally recognized tribes in Virginia, and they're all working together to do right by their people and the neighbors that they live in. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I hope that's what you had in mind.
It's just amazing timing. When I saw that this morning, I just knew I had to reach out and share this, because it was just so in synergy with what we've been talking about in the Facebook community group this week. And then of course, with this session being scheduled tonight. And I really appreciate you coming on and telling us this great news. So congratulations, celebrations, and great job.
Thank you. And I apologize that I have another tribal obligation this evening, so I won't be with you for your full session, but I will promise to read the book. And if someone asks me for a book report, I promise I'll be ready by the time it's done. So good luck to you all. And if you all have any follow-up questions, I'm sure you can reach me. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.